Yo, what's up, everybody? So this is like a new thing that I wanted to do. It's going to be these voiceovers, basically, just with like maybe a background or a thumbnail or something like that. But it might be me telling like different stories. Like, man, there was so much crazy stuff that happened in my life, like funny stories and different stuff like that. I've done a video where it was like, me talking about story time and different stuff like that. But this time it's just going to be like these voiceovers. So hopefully you guys do enjoy these. This is what I want to say about some of this crazy stuff. So in this particular story, I'm going to be telling like this weird ass Illuminati type ass story, man. Crazy shit. Very, very crazy shit. Okay, and I'm not sure if I think the year was 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And I had started this security job, and there was a guy that was working there before me. His name was Kale, and yeah, so he he was about to leave, right? Some people make that transition from their job and move on to other things. So he was about to leave, and this was his going away celebration. It was a bar in Culver City, California. If you guys are not familiar with Los Angeles or California, but yeah. So anyway, we go to this bar. It's a lot of us there. We're just there chilling, and I got off of work a little bit late, so I met up with everyone else a little bit later. So by the time I got there, people were kind of drunk, faded, and stuff like that. I get there and I'm starting kind of late. We have this one friend. Some people got too drunk. I'm not about to sit there and put names, bruh. But yeah, so we had this one dude. He got a little bit too drunk, So they end up making him leave, but he was with our group. So, of course, being good friends, we ain't just gonna leave dude out there like that, right? So, what do? We come out of the bar. We're now talking about what we're gonna do next. And this lady was standing on the side of the bar, like chilling against the wall of the bar, smoking a cigarette. So, we didn't think anything was really weird. We probably didn't even notice her at first. I know I didn't. But this lady was by herself. She wasn't talking to anybody. She wasn't on her phone or anything. She was just standing out there smoking a cigarette. And she was kind of an older lady, not stupid old, not grandma old, you know what I mean? Well, not maybe she could have been a grandma. Some people have kids, Why am I talking about that? Anyway, so this lady was smoking her cigarette. We're talking, and someone from our group says something to her. So, finally we noticed her. And then she starts socializing with our group. And then next thing you know, it's weird. Like, it was a boss of mine. And him and the lady made out, which was weird, just random stranger lady, but it's not that uncommon for the bar life. So, they start kissing, whatever. Didn't even know what was going on, but like as soon as some shit like that happens, everybody's like, "Oh my God, whoa, what the fuck?" And that's how we were. So then things were like, okay, cool. He told her, like, yo, we should chill or something like that. And then we were all supposed to meet up at our job, to get our cars back and everything. Because some of us were carpooling with other people. Not everybody had their own cars. So, some of us left our cars at the job. So we had to go back to the job. But for some odd reason, bro, the dude, Kale, and the other homie, I'm not going to put his name out there. Dude, we somehow end up getting into the car with this lady, man. Like, These two fools were basically like, they're stupid drunk, right? And they're like, yo, let's just ride with her. She's going back to our job or whatever, right? And I'm kind of like, bruh, you remember I told you I got there kind of late. They were already like gone. So like, I'm kind of, I'm a little buzzed, but I'm not gone. But I just kept thinking, I was like, damn, these are the homies, man. I can't let no weird shit happen. So in my mind, I'm like, yo, if I don't go, like, but I mean, at that point, I thought she really was going back to our job. So I didn't think too much of it, but still, it was kind of weird. So we got into the car, and I think at that point, we were just like kind of laughing or whatever, right? Dude, we get like a few blocks down from the bar, and this lady is like, she starts acting weird. She starts acting like real weird, right? And she was like, ha ha ha, do you guys want to go to the dark side, right? And, we're all laughing, but they're stupid drunk in the back seat, right? I'm sitting in the front with this lady, and they're all laughing like, ha ha ha, the dark side. What the fuck is the dark side? Just laughing. And I'm kind of laughing too, because I'm like, oh, what the fuck is she talking about, right? And then she like, I look over at her, right? And she's smiling, but then she kind of has like a serious face. And she keeps looking in the rear view mirror at them in the back seat, right? So she's like, the dark side. Like, you guys don't know what the dark side is? And then, like, hearing her repeat that, things kind of got a little bit serious, because we're kind of like, all right, maybe she's not telling the joke anymore. So she says the dark side, and we're like, what the fuck is that? Like, and then she's like, the dark side, you can pretty much get anything you want. And we're like, anything you want? Like, what? Like, I mean, at this point, like, we're kind of like, yo, she talking about like some prostitution sex shit or something, like, and I didn't know what was going on. And I was just like, what? And then she's like, the dark side, you can get anything you can get. And then she starts naming like kind of certain drugs and stuff. And I don't do drugs, so it's like, I've heard of them, of course. You hear about them in TV shows, movies. You hear about drugs everywhere. So I'm kind of like, what the fuck she talking about? And of course, she said like the common one, like cocaine and shit like that. But she was like, you can get coke, and I'm just like, what? In my mind, because I don't do drugs, I was like, man, what the fuck is she talking about? Like, I ain't fucking with this shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've been out to places and there's been drugs, and it's just like, I'm not fucking with it. Like, dude, when people were popping, like, even just ecstasy, I wasn't doing it. I never did it. I don't know how I'm going to react to it. So I just never did it. So you can see how uneducated I am of these drugs. So it gets to a point where I'm just kind of like, what? And then she makes a turn on this residential street. So we're kind of already driving in a residential area. So she makes a turn on this other residential street. And I'm like, maybe she's going to like the main street or something, getting out of the residential area. And then she starts to talk about the dark side again. And they're in the back seat laughing and shit, because now they think it's a joke again. But like I said, I was the most soberest. I was the most sober out of everybody. So I'm like, okay, what the fuck? I was like, this shit seems weird, right? And I keep looking over at her, and I have my phone, but I'm not really doing anything on my phone. I'm just like kind of just socializing, right? So then I think it was a point where we're going down, and she's asking about the dark side or whatever. And I'm kind of like, nah, I'm cool. Like, let's just go back to the job. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, let's go back to the job. They're supposed to chill or whatever. Or I don't know what they were about to do afterwards. So once she starts naming stuff, right, these fools kind of are like, oh, maybe we should fuck with that. Like, you know what I mean? And we didn't even know what that was. None of us knew what that was. But this lady is kind of like talking about just doing some dark side shit. And I'm like, dark side? What the fuck is that? That sounds like a villain group or some shit. Like, what the fuck you talking about? Dark side, like, you tripping, right? And if I didn't give a good description of the lady, she was like a kind of like older white lady, but it looked like, bro, like maybe back in the day, she was probably like a model or some shit like that. Like, she wasn't an ugly lady. Like, she was a pretty lady, right? But you could tell she was, she was older or whatever. And I'm not talking about like wrinkles everywhere, older or anything like that. She had a nice Benz. I didn't describe that. Like, she had a dope ass Benz, and we're just rolling with her. Like, don't know what's going on. But we just, the main plan was to go back to the job. So then, what am I thinking about? Oh, so these fools are like, yo, let's just fuck with it. I'm like, nah, I don't know about that. I don't know about fucking with it, man. So, she starts driving, and then I'm starting to notice like she's driving in a different direction. And I'm like, where the fuck is she going? But like, dude, I'm like, this particular area of Culver City, I wasn't really familiar with the residential street. So I'm like, our boss already gave her like the address and everything, so, and then next thing you know, like they're talking about something, and then I'm starting to look at my phone. And then this lady, like, as soon as I start to look at my phone, she's like, whoa, what are you doing? And I'm like, what? I was like, what the fuck? Pretty much like, what the fuck are you talking about, And she's like, what are you doing on your phone? I was like, oh, I remember I was on Twitter. And I was like, just on, Twitter. And then she's like, why are you on Twitter? And I was like, what? I was like, maybe she doesn't know what Twitter is or whatever, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, oh no, it's just, social media app or whatever. And then she's like, oh, okay. And then she kind of laughed. She's like, you're not telling anybody where you're going, are you? And then I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I watch a lot of horror movies, so I'm like, yo, this sounds like some hostile shit, like some crazy shit. And I'm like, I know it's one lady and it's like 3 guys, but I'm like, these motherfuckers are helpless. They are drunk as hell. Like, they were stumbling out of the fucking bar. And I'm sober as fuck, and I'm like, yo, at one point I was like, hey, I ain't trying to fuck her up, but I'm like, yo, if this lady pulls some shit, I'm gonna have to hit her with some elbows. You know what I'm saying? Like, some shit is gonna have to go down. Like, I am not about to let this fucking woman auction my body off. You know what I'm saying? So I was really like, yo, what the fuck is going on? And I don't know what was going on. So much time passed. I don't know if it was like I was freaking out and thinking about other shit. Dude, didn't have a car charger, phone probably dying. Like, I don't think my phone did die that night. Yeah, I don't think it did, but I'm like, yo, I don't know what's going on. Next thing you know, we're driving, and we're somewhere on like fucking going towards Hollywood, but like on the side of like West Hollywood, right? But going up, I remember we were going like north and south. I don't know what street that was, but because we ended up going onto Santa Monica Boulevard, which goes east and west, and we ended up on, I don't know if it was just Santa Monica or we ended up on Sunset also. But anyway, so we're driving down the street, and like, dude, she gets to this point where she's like, yo, let me see everybody's ID. And I'm like, wait, everybody's fucking ID? Like, what do you mean everybody's ID? Why would you need to be checking people's IDs, right? So she fucking, these fools hand her the IDs. Like, they just reach in their pockets, look for the IDs, right? And hand them to her. And I'm kind of like, what the fuck? And then she's like, what about yours? I was like, what? And I think I like tried to show her like some old ass school ID or some shit like that. Like, I don't know. I know I wasn't trying to give her like no driver's license shit, right? And but still, my name was on the fucking thing. I just showed it to her because I was just like, I don't know. She seems weird. Like, I don't know if she's gonna fucking flip out or whatever. And it's like, I'm like, bro, the shit doesn't. I think it was like an old ass school ID because I was like, I don't think I gave her some shit with my address on it. So Dude, it gets to the point where I'm just like really freaking out, and these fools are like gone. I think one of them might have already passed out. Like he's probably already passed out, and then the other dude, we're driving down the street in Hollywood, and then the conversation gets kind of sexual, right? So we're passing like a certain part, like it's like in between Hollywood and Beverly Hills, and she's like, "Oh, I live down that street, right?" And I'm like, "All right, cool. That way is Beverly Hills." I was like, "Yo." I was like, okay. I was like, damn, so she must have some money. Just, I don't know why I'm even believing what this lady is saying, but I'm like, she got a dope Benz. She looked like she had some type of money or some shit. And it wasn't even like, it was like, we were like, yo, we're trying to get her money or no shit like that. These fools were drunk, and I was basically being their fucking babysitter, bro, like caretaker, you know what I'm saying? Like, and dude, it's like, I think it was like a Saturday night or something, so the area is like packed full of cars, right? There's another Benz that's on the side of us. I didn't even notice at first, you know? And she was like, look at these fuckers or whatever, right? Dude, my window's down. I'm sitting in the front seat with her, right? Car full of dudes. She yells over to the dude like, fuck your shit or whatever, right? Remember, this is like an older lady, bro, but she was turned up. She was like, fuck your shit or whatever. And the dudes look over at me and I'm like, yo. And they were like, I don't know, like they look like, dude, what do they look like? They look like some Middle Eastern dudes, like kind of like what Fuzi looks like, if you guys are familiar with like Fuzi or something. But they look like some like Middle Eastern dudes that probably get shit going, you know, like they're probably down with the fighting, they're probably down for the drama and all that shit. So I'm like, yo, these fools can't help me in the back. I was like, she's yelling and cursing at these fools, just being on some cocky shit, right? And then I'm sitting here like, sitting in the passenger seat like, yo, what the fuck is she doing? I think I even look at her like, yo, what are you doing? And then she was just like laughing and shit like, fuck them or whatever, right? And they're just mean mugging, like they're mean mugging. But I'm like, yo, hopefully they don't think that I'm sitting there trying to start some drama. You know what I'm saying? And she just did it out of nowhere, like out of nowhere. She just seen another Benz car that was next to hers. I think they might have looked somewhat similar. She had a black one, and I remember they had a black one. And maybe that was it that triggered her or something. But she just started cursing at them. They're bumping music, like loud ass hip hop music and shit. And I'm like, yo, these fools look like they probably get down, like they down for fighting or some shit, right? I'm like, damn, I'm gonna get jumped tonight if some shit pop off. And then worst case, I'm like, bro, they just start shooting in the car or something, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, I'm like right here. I'm the closest person to them because they were on my side. And bruh, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I think by this time both of them were probably knocked out. And we're pulling over some like we're driving, and then all of a sudden she pulls into like this fucking lot that's behind this building. And I had asked her like a couple of times, like, yo, where are we going? She was like, oh, just chill. We're gonna like party and have some fun and stuff, right? And I'm just like, okay, that's why I kind of just roll with things. Like maybe it isn't that weird. Maybe I'm just, you know, overthinking shit. I don't know. And no, I think the other dude wasn't knocked out yet. Because I remember, like, the conversations in the car started to get sexual, right? So I'm thinking in his head, he was like, yo, we probably going to go back to our house. Because he kept saying, oh, you live around here? Like, fuck going wherever we're going. He kept saying, let's go to your house. I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to go to this lady's fucking house. Like, dude, she seems weird already. The house probably seemed like the weirdest place. Like, we about to end up in the fucking basement, bro. I'm not trying to fuck with none of it, you know? But I was just like, yo, I can't let them go out like that because I felt like, yo, if something happens, you know, there was a part of it that I felt early at the bar, right? But like I said, I didn't think it was totally weird because she didn't say nothing about the dark side yet. So I'm thinking we're just going back to the job. But anyway, we pull up later to this parking lot, and it's kind of behind some buildings, and it looks like I don't even know what the buildings were, right? Didn't know where I was. All I remember was it might have been like around some type of, I don't know if it was Halloween or what, but we're in West Hollywood and people were like kind of dressed up in costumes and shit. So I'm not sure what was going on, but all I know is shit was just crazy. Like I felt like some movie shit was about to happen. You know, like some crazy ass movie shit was about to happen. So when we pull up into this parking lot, she parks the car, and then she's like, I'm gonna go into this place real quick. But then she starts having like certain rules, right? And she's like, yo, two of you guys are gonna have to stay in the car. Somebody's gonna have to come with me, and they're gonna be my plus one. And we're like, what the fuck? The dude Kale was knocked out, stupid, gone. He's asleep. He's snoring in the back seat, bro. And the other homie, he was awake again. And then he's like, yo, I'll fuck with it. Like, I'll go with you. And I'm like, yo, what? I'm like, I knew I didn't want to go in. You know what I'm saying? I knew I didn't want to go in, but I didn't want nobody to go in. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, nah, it's cool. It's cool. We're going to be cool. And I'm like, you sure? And he was like, yeah, we'll just, like, I'll just come back down. I'll see what's up, and then I'll just come back down. And I'm like, bruh, like I said, I didn't know where we were at that point. But it looked like it was behind, like, some apartments or some shit like that, you know? And there wasn't that many people walking around at that part. So I'm like, yo, we're in Hollywood somewhere, but I don't know where exactly. It's not really people around. It was kind of dark. So they get out of the car, and me and Kale are both still sitting in the car, right? She leaves the car unlocked and everything. I think she even left the keys in the car. No, she didn't leave the keys in the car, but she left the car unlocked. So we're sitting in the car, and as soon as I see them walk off, like they walk off and walk towards like some building, and they go in like a gate. You know, like how apartment buildings have like gates, security gates. So they go inside the security gate. Dude, as soon as I see them go in, I wake up Kale, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, yo, wake up, wake up, wake up. As soon as I wake him up, bro, he comes out of the car and just starts throwing up. And I'm like, fuck, dude. So I'm like, it's kind of good that he's throwing up, because that's kind of, you know, it's getting out of his system. And we are like, what? He's like, yo, where did such go? And I'm like, yo, he went into that building with the lady. And he's like, what the fuck? Why'd he go into the building? I'm like, bruh, I don't know. I was like, but shit seems weird. I was like, she kept asking for ID. I was like, every time, and I didn't say it. I was tweeting my location. I would just, like, if people were watching my tweets, they were probably just seeing me tweet random locations, like just random streets, right? So I was just freaking out, like, yo, if something happens, like, kind of it'll lead to somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So, like I said, I don't even know why I let this shit go on that far. But, like, dude, I was just rolling with it, because I'm like, bro, what the fuck can I really do? Like, if something happens, like I said, she tries something, like, bro, I'm either have to, like, try to fight her, but if she got a weapon, I'm like, bro, I'm gonna have to just try to get out of the fucking car and run. But I'm like, dude, these fools are still in the car. And they're the whole reason why I came, to kind of, like, make sure nothing happens. So, that's probably why it went on for so long. But anyway, dude, me and Kale are like fucking tripping, like, yo, what's going on? We're at the car tripping, and then I'm like, yo, I'm about to just take her fucking car. And then I'm like, yo, Kale, do you see keys in the car? He goes into the car, he's like, no, I don't see any keys. And I'm like, fuck, she took the keys, but she left the door unlocked. I was like, okay. And I'm like, man, what the fuck is going on? I was like, dude, where are we? I was like, we're behind some apartment buildings, random ass apartment buildings. And we're just kind of like tripping out, right? So then the other friend comes out later. And then, but it's like a while later, bro. He comes out like a while later, right? And then he's like, yo, she wants to know if we want to like chip in on getting some coke. You already know I wasn't fucking with it, because like I said, bro, I don't even like taking Tylenol. You know what I'm saying? So So I'm like, yo, she's talking about getting coke. I'm like, bro, come on, get your shit. Well, they didn't have no shit, but I'm like, yo, fuck that, let's go. He was kind of still iffy about it because I feel like he was kind of like, oh, maybe I'll fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to party like that. Like, I don't do that shit. I was like, we're with this random ass lady in this shady ass area. It didn't look like it didn't look like no hood ass spot, but it still looked weird. Like you behind an apartment building, all that shit's gonna look weird, no matter where you are. It's gonna look weird. You're behind the fucking building. So, what was it? It was just like, oh, I told them, I was like, yo, we gotta go. We gotta hit some other streets and see where the fuck we are, right? So we can kind of hear music a little bit. So I'm like, it sounds like it's coming from this way. So we start walking towards that way. And then we end up on, damn, I don't know what street. There's two Cabo Cantinas in Hollywood. There's one on Sunset that's by the Hustler store. And then there's one that's on, I don't know if it's Santa Monica Boulevard. It has to be Santa Monica because I said earlier Santa Monica or Sunset. So Santa Monica Boulevard in West Hollywood, right? So we end up on the street, and then I'm like, okay, cool, it's a bunch of people. Dude, we just left her fucking car. Like, I'm like, I was just like, fuck that. We're not fucking with none of this. We're not doing that. Kale wasn't trying to do no fucking coke. The other homie was kind of open to the idea, right? So we're like walking. I'm like, man, where the fuck are we gonna go? We don't have our cars. Our cars are back at, our job, which is far as fuck. Like, okay, if you're familiar with Los Angeles, we're in Hollywood now, and our vehicles were basically in Marina Del Rey, which is, closer to the LAX airport. It's like, bro, we're far as fuck now, So I didn't know what to do. We just walked for a little while. I think our phones did die. Because we had to end up going somewhere and using a payphone, I think, or something like that. I think that's what we had to end up doing. So I think our phones were dead because we kept walking and we just didn't know, what to do, right? So now I'm asking him, I'm like, yo, what the fuck happened? Like, where did you go? He was just like, man, we went into like this weird ass building. And I was like, yeah, I saw when you guys went in and stuff. And then he was like, yeah, we went in and it was like weird. He was like, it was like a lot of people that were in there that looked like they had money. So the description of the apartment building, it looked like an okay apartment building, like an apartment building you might see in the valley, like in a place that's not a lower class apartment building. It didn't look like it was graffiti and shit everywhere, you know what I mean? But it still looked like it was like a all right kind of apartment building, you know what I'm saying? Still kind of shady, right? And then he's like, they go in and then, they're walking in the hallway and then they go into like a room. Did I hit something? What the fuck is that noise? But anyway, they go into a room and it's a bunch of people in there. Like they had like a door person. And he said the door person had on like a suit, like they're the bouncers or whatever. Said they had on the suit. And then, like, what is it? He said like, it seemed like everybody started looking at him. We had on regular fucking clothes, right? Like just regular shit. Him, I think he had on like a fucking black t-shirt and some jeans and some shit like that. Like he didn't have shit on nice. And, he said he went in there and everybody, like the women were dressed in like these dresses. Like it looked like a real upper scale place. Like the women had on dresses, the guys had on like tuxedos and suits and shit. And he said everybody was like looking at him. And I'm like, oh, maybe they're looking at him because, he's just underdressed or whatever, right? So then he's like, yeah, like she knew everybody in there. And she's like, oh, this is my plus one. But she was like, she explained to him, like, we're going to have to say that we're dating for us to be able to even get in. She's like, not everybody can get in here. Some people can just bring like a +1 or whatever, right? I'm like, okay, like, what the fuck does this mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck does this mean? Like, dude, remember all the weird shit that happened before. And I'm just listening to him describe everything. And I'm just like, bro, she was asking why I'm on the phone. She's sitting there asking for her ID. She's like she was acting kind of paranoid. Like we could have been undercover police officers or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and, so I'm still just thinking about all that while I'm listening to him talk about the story. So then he goes on to say that everybody seems like they just know each other. Like it's a close group or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like some real, I'm looking behind me. I'm looking behind me and shit. But like it's a close group and everything. And he was just like, yeah, they had drinks. You know, they had a couple of drinks or whatever. And then she talked to some guy, and then they started talking about like getting coke. And I forgot how much she said, but she said it was a bunch. Like, bruh, I believe she was asking for like a few $100s worth of coke. And I'm like, yo, I ain't trying to put $10 on the shit. You know what I mean? Like, bruh, I'm not trying to fuck with none of it. And he was just like, yeah. And then she sent him back downstairs to ask us if we wanted to piece in on it. And dude, he was gone for so long to the point where me and the other dude started thinking like, yo, this motherfucker's probably in a fucking tub full of ice. You know what I mean? Like, bro, we were thinking like, yo, somebody might be in there killing him. And we walked up, like, I think I walked up to near the apartment. Yeah, I walked up to the apartment thing. But like I said, there was a security gate. So it wasn't shit I could do. And I'm like, bruh, like, yeah, both of our phones were dead. Because I'm like, yo, we couldn't have just called anybody. And it was just weird. Like, it was weird as fuck. It was just crazy. And I don't know, dude. It was just a weird-ass experience. And for people wondering, no, I have never heard from this person again. I've never heard from that lady again. We talked about it a little bit after, that situation or whatever. And I think the homie said he probably heard from her one time where she was like, what happened? Because we just ran off. And we didn't really run, but you know what I mean? We just left our car there unlocked and everything. We didn't come back up with the money for the fucking coke. We weren't fucking with it. At least I know I wasn't 100%. And yeah, that was it, man. It was just crazy, man. And the reason I call it the Illuminati story is because that's how he described it. And he even used it in his description. Like, it seemed like some weird-ass Illuminati meeting type shit. Because if I didn't say, he said that when she was introducing him to these different people, they were like doctors and like, important people, people that were a higher class. That feels weird calling it higher class. But, people that are really making that money, like people that are really having these great ass professions and shit like that. So he said it was like a lot of known people, I guess, like not known, like famous, but they were, important people. And it was just so weird, you know what I mean? Like, or I was thinking like, bro, it's about to be some hostile shit. Like they're paying money and this fool is about to end up, like I said, in a fucking tub with ice or something like that, But yeah, one of the craziest things that has ever happened in my life, just because it was just such a weird ass thing. I don't know, man. But anyway, if you guys like the video, please leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to subscribe and turn on the post notifications so you know when I do stream or post more videos. Let me know down in the comment section if you guys have any crazy, weird ass, stories or anything. I'm sure a lot of you guys do. We all do, we're living life. We went through some shit. But some are crazier than others. But yeah, leave that all down below and I'll get back to you guys. So you guys stay dope and I'll check you out later. Peace.